Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Cody, and I have another decode that is going to be very interesting. Um, and I didn't expect to be diving into this type of thing, but um, I just follow the information wherever it leads. I'm going to talk about a possible second 9/11, except for this time it will be on 6/11. Okay, and obviously 9/11 and 6/11 are the upside down of one another. And what is interesting about this is that we just had the show Stranger Things come out recently about the upside down. The whole premise of that show is about an upside down world. And I'm not going to talk too much about that right now, but I do have some more connections to make to that show and a possible event in Seattle on 6/11. But I want to start by saying where I got this information at. This is the channel. It's called Jurassic Liars, Elvis Seattle 6/11, and Trump 8/4 Ohio. So go check out this guy's channel. He's doing amazing work. A lot of his channel is based around Elvis and how Elvis is a symbol of the Antichrist, a symbol of the new system. And it does make a lot of sense. And I really think if you guys want to know more about how I started looking into this, you got to go to him first because he's the one who mentioned the date first. Honestly, I was thinking about June 11th before I even found this guy's channel, but he just pointed me in an even more interesting direction. So at any rate, guys, let's go back over to my document here. I'm going to post this document in the link in the description so you guys can read what I have written. But let's dive right in. This video, I don't want it to get too long, but let's go. I was clued in to a possible event in Seattle by the other YouTuber I just mentioned. And I started doing research on my own. And again, the whole premise of this is that if they're going to carry out another 9/11, would it be on 9/11 again? Probably not, guys. That would be too obvious. So why not make it on the upside down of 9/11, the 6/11? And the thing about 6/11 is it's in June, and June is where, it's where Trump was born. There's a lot of things that connect to June, and I was born in June, and so that there's a lot of things to connect to June, but just the 6/11 being the upside down of the 9/11, and that's the as above, so below concept. So again, guys, he talks a lot about Elvis Presley. I'm not going to talk too much about Elvis, but I have found a lot of interesting things tying a lot of our events to Elvis. So if you want to know more about that, he's got a bunch of good info on his channel. There's a link here for you guys to click. So at any rate, I stumbled across an article written on July 20th, 2015, which is the 201st day of the year. Okay, and for those of you who are unfamiliar why the 201 is important, well, the Jesuit order, which is the Society of Jesus, the people who essentially run the world, equals 201. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, equals 201. So the fact that this is the article right here. It was posted on the New Yorker. It won a Pulitzer Prize, and the name of the article is called The Really Big One. And it talks about a potential huge earthquake that would sink Seattle into the sea, specifically Washington State and Seattle. All right. And again, it talks about a lot of things here, but I'm going to go back to my document and show you guys what I mean. So the article that I'm talking about was released on the 201st day of the year. It won a Pulitzer Prize, and it was talking about Seattle sinking into the sea after an earthquake. Now, let me let you guys know what I think will actually happen if there's an earthquake. I think that what will actually happen is it will be bombs exploding underground, causing an earthquake. And so that's why I'm going to connect the bomb. I'm going to connect J. Robert Oppenheimer, who created the first atomic bomb. I've talked about him in a lot of my last videos. And I'm going to connect him to this because I think that the bomb is a part of this. and it's going to be an earthquake. You're not going to know it was a bomb, but they're going to call it an earthquake. And if we go back into early this year, in 2022, the Batman released, and well, it had, in the final scene of the movie, it had bombs exploding on the seawalls of the city, Gotham, and it flooded the city. Again, similar concept. Not to mention the new Seattle hockey team is named the Kraken, and, for anyone obviously familiar with the Kraken, it's an ancient sea monster. So it's very ominous to call your team the Kraken. And later on this video, I'm going to talk about a trade between the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks, and the National Football League to the Denver Broncos. And I'm going to show you how Russell Wilson and how Noah Fant, the guy who was returned, is tied into this. But let's just go and let's start talking about these specific incidences that tie into this date. So the first one, as you can see here, is the Beast Quake. All right. Now, the Beast Quake was a football event. Let me get up a page for you guys so I can look it up. The Beast Quake was an event that occurred on January 8th, 2011. Now, January 8th is Elvis's birthday, guys. So again, another connection. Notice that the attendance was 66336. Interesting number to be attended at such an event, right? But what happened here was the running back for the Seattle Seahawks in his home stadium broke out a tremendous run and scored a touchdown. What happened was the fans got so crazy that they screamed so loud that they shook the stadium, and apparently it registered on the Richter scale as a small earthquake. So that's why they call it the Beast Quake. All right, so the running back's name was Marshawn Lynch. He was the one who ran it in. And again, I told you guys that it was on January 8th, 2011, which is Elvis's birthday. Now, if you measure from that date, January 8th, 2011, to the date in question, 6/11/2022, it's 137 months. And, well, 137 is the 33rd prime number, guys. 137 is the 33rd prime number. And 33 is a huge number in Freemasonry and secret societies. Most of you guys probably already know how big the number 33 is. So it's 137 months after the Beast Quake. And not to mention that, guys, but it's also 11 years, okay? 11 being the master number, Why do you think things happen on 9/11 and 3/11, like we had the COVID thing on 3/11, and we had 9/11, and now we're going to have 6/11, so the 369. Now, again, the Beast Quake happened 11 years ago. It happened in 2011, and now we're in 2022, which is also 22 is a master number. So we've got the three master numbers. Now, also, the total was from the Beast Quake to June 11th was 11 years, 5 months, and 3 days. And in Gematria, the Beast Quake equals 135. So again, 135, an anagram of the amount of time it was between the Beast Quake and June 11th. 1153, Beast Quake equals 153 or 135. All right. Now, I want to mention another thing about the running back, Marshawn Lynch, who scored the touchdown on the Beast Quake. He was born on April 22nd, and April 22nd is the same day that J. Robert Oppenheimer was born. Remember, J. Robert Oppenheimer, the creator of the first atomic bomb with plutonium. Again, I repeat myself a lot, but because I talk about this all the time. But J. Robert Oppenheimer was born on the same day as Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch causes the Beast Quake. J. Robert Oppenheimer causes the atomic explosion, which could cause an earthquake. And this is also significant because if you type in his full name, J. Robert Oppenheimer, it's a direct match to Seattle, Washington in two ciphers. It equals 212 and 94, and Seattle, Washington equals 212 and 94. Let me go over here and show you. So notice that J. Robert Oppenheimer is 212, and Seattle, Washington is 212. Okay. Also notice that Seattle, Washington is 94, and J. Robert Oppenheimer is 94. Also, J. Robert Oppenheimer equals 274, and Seattle, Washington equals 247, just an anagram of the 274. Okay. I'm going to talk about these 274s and 247s in a minute. They're going to blow your mind. But that's the whole point, I think, is because Oppenheimer, he matches Seattle, Washington. There's going to be bombs that go off underground causing an earthquake in this scenario. Okay, not only that, guys, but if you just type in Beast Quake, it equals 102. Remember, the reverse of the 201. All right, but also plutonium, the element that they use to make bombs, equals 102. Let me go show you. So look, guys, Beast Quake equals 102. Plutonium equals 102. So again, the guy who used plutonium to make the first atomic bomb matches Seattle, Washington, and plutonium, the element they use, matches the Beast Quake. And again, guys, it was 137 months, which is the 33rd prime. It's also 11 years. So master numbers all over the place here. And now I want to talk about something else, and I didn't have this written, but guys, so the Beast Quake happened in 2011, right? But there was actually an earthquake that happened in 2011, a very massive earthquake in Japan. All right? And Japan, this was a huge earthquake, and it caused a lot of destruction, 15,000 deaths. And notice that it happened on March 11th. Again, guys, the 11. Big events happen on 11s. It's always how it's going to be. But remember, we had the COVID pandemic declared on March 11th, only 9 years before this earthquake. But this earthquake happened the same year as the Beast Quake, the football event that I just talked to you about. All right? And if you go into the calculator and you measure from this Japan earthquake, okay, to the date that we're talking about there being an earthquake in Seattle possibly, it's 135 months. And why is the 135 important, guys? Well, the 135 goes back to Beast Quake. The Beast Quake equals 135. I don't have it here, but let me type it in. The Beast Quake equals 135, just like it's 135 months. It also equals 216. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Remember, there was 6,636 people, or there was 66. If you go back to the Beast Quake, there was 66,336. So you got a 666 in there in attendance during the Beast Quake in Seattle. And remember, this earthquake in Japan happened the same year, and it was 135 months before June 11th, just like the Beast Quake equals 135. So again, in my mind, not a coincidence that these all are lining up. Now, let's talk about the next event. Now that I've got the Beast Quake out of the way, I want to talk about another earthquake, and this earthquake happened in Seattle, in Seattle's history. And lo and behold, guys, this earthquake happened in 2001. And what else happened in 2001? Well, you had 9/11. And that's what we're comparing this June 11th to, is the upside down of the 9/11. And Seattle had an earthquake the same year that 9/11 happened. Specifically, it had an earthquake on February 28th, 2001. If you measure from that day they had their earthquake in Seattle in 2001 to June 11th, it's 1110 weeks. What do we know about the 111? Well, the 111, 9/11 happened on the day leaving 111 days left in the year. And so if you go back to the earthquake that happened in Seattle, which was the same year 9/11 happened, and you measure to the 6/11/2022, you're going to get the 111 with the 0 on the end. Okay? Not a coincidence, guys. Perfect. Maybe even watch out for the next week, because it's the 1111. It's 4 ones. Right? But remember, guys, 9/11 happened on the day leaving 111 days left in the year, and it happened the same year as this earthquake that I just measured from. That's also 7,773 days, and there you got your 777. And I also want to mention that it was 21 years, 3 months, and 14 days, and that can be, the 314 can be looked at as pi, 3.14, right? An important number in mathematics. So, anyways, let me show you guys here This is the earthquake that happened in Seattle in 2001. Here's the days, the weeks, the 1110. Okay. Again, guys, I don't think it's a coincidence because remember, this earthquake happened the same year as 9/11, and now we're talking about 6/11. So let me close that one out. Let me also show you guys the Beast Quake date, because here's the Beast Quake. Okay. The Beast Quake, again, happened 137 months before this date. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that and saw that I wasn't fibbing to you. So back to this, and let's move on to the next one, guys, because now the next date is a very important date in my mind, and it's the same day that the Georgia Guidestones were put up. Now, the Georgia Guidestones, guys, are stones that have rules for depopulating the world and keeping the population into a specific genetic. It's just basically rules on how to govern the population of the world and how to keep people, how to keep people at a specific gene and bloodline, right? And these stones were erected in Georgia, north of Atlanta. They're called the Georgia Guidestones, and they were put up on 3/22/1980. Now, this goes back to Skull and Bones. Remember, guys, the secret society that George W. Bush was part of, who was the president during 9/11, Skull and Bones, 322. Okay, if you just type in that, the first article you're gonna see is the secret society Skull and Bones 322 right here. Remember, George Bush was in this society, and he was the president during 9/11. Okay, so the 322 and the Georgia Guidestones, which I just told you about, they were put up on 3/22/1980. And if you measure from that date to June 11, 2022, you're going to get 2203 weeks. Remember, this date, 3/22, can be written 223, and 2,203 weeks later, you're going to get 6/11. Not a coincidence, guys. That's the most mind-blowing connection right there, And also, let me show you something also amazing in the gematria. If you type in giant earthquake, Seattle, Washington, the reason I use the phrase giant earthquake is because in this article that I showed you in the beginning that this girl wrote about an earthquake happening in Seattle, they used the phrase a giant earthquake. All right. Now, I don't know exactly where it's at in here, but they use the phrase a giant earthquake. So if you go into gematria and you type in giant earthquake, Seattle, Washington, you're going to get 2203. Remember, I just told you guys that it was 2203 weeks from the Georgia Guidestones being put up, which were put up on 3/22, which can be written 2/23. And giant earthquake, Seattle, Washington, equals 2203, just like the amount of weeks it is between the Guidestones and June 11th. So again, that's also 506 months. And what do we know about the Society of Jesus, guys? Remember, they love the number 201 and they love the number 56. All right. So that's crazy, guys. I mean, it's 2203 weeks. And in Jewish gematria, giant earthquake, Seattle, Washington equals 2203. And the Georgia Guidestones were put up on 223. So let's move on. This is going to be the next big event that I measured from. And that's going to be a blockbuster trade that happened earlier this year in 2022 between the Seattle Seahawks, the football team, and the Denver Broncos. Seattle traded Russell Wilson, their star quarterback, to Denver in return for a player named Noah Fant. Noah is the biblical character associated with floods. Okay? The biblical character associated with floods. And the earthquake would essentially flood Seattle, right? Remember, the name of the Seattle hockey team is the Kraken, right? So Noah Fant was... Now, what's interesting about Noah Fant, let me see if I still have him up. He was born on November 20th, which just happens to be the same day as our current president, Joe Biden. Now, if you measure from Joe Biden and Noah Fant's previous birthday on 11/20/2021, you're going to get to June 11th, you're going to get 203 days. The reason this is very significant, guys, let's go over here. Let me find it. I've got so much stuff up. Here it is. So here it is. If you go from Noah Fant, who was traded to Seattle, and he has the same birthday as Joe Biden, and you go from their last birthday to the date in question, June 11th, you're going to get 203 days. Okay? This is important because the day that I'm measuring to is the 230 days left in the year. See? 203 days between his birthday and Joe Biden's birthday, and it's the day leaving 203 days left in the year, June 11th. Which also means that to their next birthday, it's 162 days. And June 11th is the 162nd day of the year. So this is perfectly placed in between these guys' birthdays because it's 162 days before their next birthday, and June 11th is the 162nd day of the year. And it's 203 days after their last birthday, and June 11th is the 203 days left in the year. Again, perfect synchronization here. Now just notice here, I want to lay it out one more time. So you have June 11th, which is the 162nd day of the year, with 203 remaining. If you measure from Noah Fant, who was traded to Seattle this year, right, his birthday, to, which is also Biden's birthday, it's 203 days and 162, which matches the day, June 11th, which is the 162 days within the year and 203 remaining. Again, this is absolutely perfect coordination. Also, guys, Noah Fant, his name, matches the word murder in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers. So let me go back over here. Look at Noah Fant, guys. He equals 79, 34, 137, and 38. Notice that murder equals 79, 34, 83, and 38. So 3 out of the 4 ciphers, Noah Fant matches murder. Also, guys, Noah Fant has the 137. And what did I tell you about the Beast Quake? Was 137 months before June 11th. And it was done by another Seattle player, Marshawn Lynch, who I just told you guys about. So very interesting that another football player with the 137 is being traded there now, and his birthday falls perfectly in line with June 11th, as I just showed you. Another thing to notice about Noah Fant is he weighs 249 pounds. And this is significant, guys, because why would they have it so accurate? 249. Well, there's a reason for that. Because if you go and you measure, let me see if I can find, again, guys, sorry for not having this organized, but it's so much going on here. But it's 249. Apparently, I don't have it up anymore. So it's 249 months. Let me just go back and I don't need to show you guys. I'll just explain to you. It's 249 months from 9/11/2001, which is the date that we're saying this is the upside down. 6/11 is the upside down of 9/11. It's 249 months between these two dates. And Noah Fant, who was traded to Seattle, equals 249. He weighs 249 pounds. Okay. He also wears number 87, and this ties with Elvis because Elvis turns 87 in the year 222, 2022. And Elvis's twin brother who died as a stillborn, equals 87 and 222. Okay. Remember the Twin Towers, Elvis had a twin brother. If you want to know more about Elvis, go watch the Jurassic's channel that I just referenced earlier in the video. Also, guys, Bill Gates, who lives in Seattle, equals 87. So again, Noah Fant wears the number 87. At least he did for Denver. So let's keep moving because there's a lot more to show you guys. Hopefully, guys, this is making sense. Now let's talk about another very important date in Washington history because Washington State was founded, where Seattle is, on 11/11. Remember, guys, the 11s. It was founded on 11/11/1889, which was the same year Hitler was born, by the way. So the state of Washington was founded 11/11/1889. And if you go from the last anniversary of 11/11, which was the founding date of Washington, to June 11th, 2022, it's 212 days. Okay, let me show you. It was 212 days from the anniversary of Washington State founding to June 11th. And the 212 is very important, guys. Let me show you why. Notice that it's 212 days, and look at Seattle, Washington. It equals 212. Look at J. Robert Oppenheimer, who I talked about earlier. If there's going to be an earthquake that's going to be about bombs, his name equals 212, just like Seattle, Washington. All right. Also notice that the baseball team for Seattle is the Seattle Mariners, and they equal 212 as well. Remember, it's 212 days after the anniversary of the founding of the state. And Seattle, Washington just happens to equal 212. Again, perfectly placed date. Now, again, I want to just bring up the J. Robert Oppenheimer because he equals 212. And in the movie The Batman, there was bombs that go off that caused the city to flood. All right? It's all about J. Robert Oppenheimer and the bombs. Okay? So very interesting, the 212. Now, let's just get to the most big connection that I have. All right, and it's all about the 247 and the 274. So I mentioned to you guys earlier in the video about this article written by Catherine Schwartz, was her name, and it was written about an earthquake called the Really Big One, and it would take down Seattle under the sea possibly. That's what the article's about. All right. So let me lay this out for you guys. All right, so you have the name of the article, The Really Big One. Notice how it's almost a direct match to Great Earthquake, 158, 247. All right. Also, notice that Giant Earthquake is the exact same as Great Earthquake. All right. So, but I just want to focus on this column. As a matter of fact, let me take away all the other ciphers. I want to just focus on the reverse ordinal cipher. All right, so you have the Really Big One. The name of the article about the earthquake that could hit Seattle equals 247. Notice that Seattle, Washington equals 247. Notice that Great Earthquake equals 247. Giant Earthquake equals 247, and that was the phrase they actually used in the article was Giant Earthquake. It equals 247. Now, I just told you guys that Washington State, where Seattle is, was founded on November 11th. And if you type that date out, November 11th, you get 247. Just like Seattle, Washington, just like Great Earthquake, just like the Really Big One. Also notice that we're comparing this to the next 9/11. And what happened on the first 9/11? The World Trade Centers went down. Well, World Trade Center equals 247. Just like the rest of these. And I just told you that if there's an earthquake, it will probably be because of bombs, and J. Robert Oppenheimer's tied to the bomb, and his name equals 274, which is an anagram of the 247. Okay, notice also that this ties to Seattle too, because the Seattle Mariners, the baseball team, equals 274, just like J. Robert Oppenheimer, which again is an anagram of Seattle, Washington, 247. Now, I want to talk about the girl who wrote this article. The girl who wrote this article, her name was Catherine Schwartz. All right. And why is she important? Well, because she's from Ohio. Let me close this because my computer is getting really slow right now. Sorry for the delay, guys. My computer is absolutely overwhelmed. But so Catherine Schwartz, the girl who wrote the article, the Really Big One, what she equals 247, she's from Shaker Heights, Ohio. Just notice the mockery, guys. Shaker, like an earthquake shakes. Notice that it equals 274, just like J. Robert Oppenheimer. And remember, 274 is just an anagram of all these 247s I just showed you. Remember, she wrote the article, the really big one, about a Seattle earthquake, which matches Seattle, and she's from a town which is called Shaker, and the 247 is an anagram of the 247 is an anagram of the 274. Now, the other big thing I want to make sure I point out, why is this 274 so big here? Well, if you measure, let me find it again. If you measure from the last anniversary of 9/11 to 6/11, it's 274 days. 274. So 6/11 is 274 days after 9/11. And I just showed you that World Trade Center equals 247, which is an anagram of the 274. And the 274 matches the name of the town from the lady that wrote this article. Again, it's just so crazy. You know, it's all so perfectly placed that it can't be a coincidence. It's 274 days after 9/11. All right. So another thing I want to point out, which is just going to be the final piece to this puzzle, is that if you go into the English, instead of using the reverse, and you type in Seattle earthquake, June 11th, 2022, you're going to get 247. Again, I just showed you guys 247s all over and 274s. All right. And it just happens to be that when you type in the phrase Seattle earthquake, June 11th, 2022, you get the 247 also. Also, guys, the Society of Jesus, their logo has the IHS logo in the middle. That stands for Isus Hominum Salvator, and that equals 247. And I just showed you all the 247s. And notice that Isus Hominum Salvator in full reduction cipher is an 85, which is a direct match to Seattle earthquake, June 11th, 2022. So the Jesuits would be behind this. So they're even tied to this. Again, just to recap, you got the article equals 247. You got earthquake equals 247. Seattle, Washington equals 247. The date Washington State was founded, November 11th, 247. World Trade Center happened on 9/11, 247. J. Robert Oppenheimer, 274. The girl who wrote the article from Shaker Heights, 274. The Seattle baseball team, 274. All right. 9/11 is 6/11 is 274 days after 9/11, and if you type in Seattle earthquake June 11, 2022, you get 247. The Jesuit motto Isus Hominum Salvator equals 274. They also match with the 85s. So I'm just trying to make sure you guys clearly see what I'm showing you here. I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but this is sure lining up to be a perfectly placed riddle. And I guess we will see, guys. I just showed you all the other connections earlier. And I'll probably have more videos on this before June 11th. And I'm also going to have a video about 6/6 because it could also be a huge day. But anyway, guys, I think I went over everything I wanted to cover. I hope that it made sense. I hope you guys understood. I hope you guys were able to watch the video all the way through. And please, I hope someone can also share this with Jurassic so that, I hope I added information to his information and we can work together to find even more clues. Anyways, guys, take care. Have a great and blessed day. I will see you in the next video. Many blessings.